what up? Job for professionals. When you need it done right, because you out here trying to get the dough. It's a job for professionals. With every dollar counts and you shrewd with the decimal. It's a job for professionals. It's a perfection with no pension and no medical. It's a job for professionals. A job for professionals. It's a job for professionals. If the act can roll the pack, the dealer is the shuffler. I always speak my mind, Jake can be a feather ruffler. I can't be silenced like a malfunction muffler. Palumbo bag dimes like an unsuccessful hustler. Touchdown, they try to call it timeout. Buck them down, fly out, fuck around and find out. Fruit off a tree, I've been planting dudes is taught. Trees with my mistress, sipping lychee and Bacardi. Party at Ground Zero, there's a movie starring you. I'm a Tommy blow the chronic till we're all blown to pink vapor stew. Cigarettes is aging you, that whack chick still paging you. Do the work, I'm not saving you. I'm way too cool to be hating you. Or simply not cool. I can't say it any clearer. They gave you all a megaphone, you really need a mirror. EaZ the engineer in the hood politician. Mergers, acquisitions on a paper expedition. Let's go. Get it done right, cause you out here trying to get the dough. It's a job for professionals. With every dollar counts and you shrewd with the decimal. It's a job for professionals. It's a perfection with no pension and no medical. It's a job for professionals. A job for professionals. It's a job for professionals. They won't even see me from the height that I could hit them. I'ma fuck around and grow and blow despite the algorithm. Forget the hearts and the likes. Couldn't give a shit about them. Forget the shares, I really don't care. I'm doing it without them. That go to anybody who would ever try to doubt them. Pack it up or pack it up. Would ever try to crowd them. I'm saying what they wanna say. They ain't got the clout. Keep it a buck, I don't give a fuck and no, I ain't about. I give it to you raw. If it do, it don't sell. Straight from the heart, playing my part, slaying my mark. Reasoning well, I don't gotta wear a watch or chain to propel. Shit, I'd rather buy my kids literally anything else. I'm the type to wish my ops and my enemies well. Cause it's common sense that I'm confident and in due time they all gon' tell. Engineer to engineer, I'm humble, but my pen is clear. Get it straight, get it clear, better get you a curb and get you a beer. When you need it done right, cause you out here trying to get the dough. It's a job for professionals. When every dollar counts and you shrewd with the decimal. It's a job for professionals.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
My bad, guys. Having difficulty problems here.
Yeah,
all good, brother.
Anyway, we are back, man. It's your boy Reckless Talk with the Reckless Talk podcast. Man, we got a great, crazy interview for you guys. My guy, EaZ the engineer, is back for round 2. He brought the heavy hitter, Jake Palumbo.
What up?
My bad.
Palumbo
with him. There you go. I have no trouble with the Italian names, But what's going down, my guys? Man, I'm excited for this one. I'm real excited for this one. You guys are doing some things right now. Shout outs. Let's start with shout outs. These my guys. They're from New York. You know what I mean? Well, EaZ from New York. Jake is from Tennessee. Living in Brooklyn. Man, let's give our shout outs and let's get this interview started.
Yeah, I'll kick it off first, man. Let me give a shout out first off. Million thank yous to Jake for working with me on this and getting this project finished and put out there. And then my usual roll call, man. Shout out to Towards Night, Freestyle Extraordinaire. Shout out to Arc Medina and Theme, my two podcast co-hosts on my Old School New Vibes podcast. And shout out just to everybody that's kicking it and vibing with me, man. I appreciate it.
There you go.
I would keep it simple. I mean, shout out to everybody who's listening, everybody who's been, has checked out Engineer to Engineer, everybody that has ran my new album, Plant-Based Libtard, up on Spotify. Shout out to EaZ for making this a very easy project, for me to get in and get knocked out and get on the street and in people's headphones very easily. You know, and shout out the long list of artists I work with on a regular basis. We'd be here talking for a long time, but you know, shout out to all the ill artists I work with.
Man, hell yeah, man. First and foremost, big shout outs to both of y'all for coming on the show, man. I truly appreciate it, man. Like I said, for you to come back, EaZ, I appreciate it, brother. It's an honor,
man. Anytime.
Mr. Palumbo, man, it's an honor to have you here, bro. I've been doing my research on you, bro, and you doing some things, bro. You're doing some things, man, for real, and I'm proud of you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. In saying that, I want to give a shout out to my guys, man. Low Rock Entertainment, Royal Members Urban Outfitters, Houston Rocco, PSK 13, OZ the DJ, my guy, Rich Alexander, man. We're gonna keep it at that because there's so many people going through my head right now. Yo, we in the comments we got Anthony was going down, brother. Appreciate your support. Shit, EaZ, you been here, man. How's that things been since the last time you was on the show?
Oh man, everything's great, man. I've done a few more performances, man. I just finished having this Prep Sound Presents EaZ and TN Live event at Shillelagh Tavern in Astoria, Queens. I did about a 45-minute set there, so rock that. That was dope, man. A lot of people came through. A lot of people showed love. I got this, this EP that just dropped the day before that. It dropped on September 1st, so pushing that right now and just trying to keep building and keep working, man. I got a launch event coming up on October 5th for Old School New Vibes. Me, Ark Medina, and Theme will be in the building. We'll be talking about all of our solo ventures and our joint ventures together. And just try to keep moving, keep going, man, one day at a time. You know how it goes, man. But everything's so far so good, man. And I appreciate you having me and Jake back on.
Oh yeah, definitely, fast, man. It's an honor, man. I'm proud that you still making moves, bro. I've been watching you too since the last time you was on the show, man. And you've been doing some things, and I'm definitely proud of you, man. For real.
Appreciate that, man.
Excuse me, Palumbo, man. It's your first time on the show. Let everybody know where you from, man. What you got going?
Oh well. To try to condense 15 years into a short elevator pitch, I'm Jake Palumbo. I'm originally from East Tennessee, Knoxville, Johnson City. I've been living in Brooklyn, New York for 17 years. So kind of half my life at this point, the country boy, city kid. But people know me for different reasons. Some people know me as a rapper and recording artist. Some people know me as a producer behind the beats. Some people don't know my music at all and know me for my day job, for lack of a better term, which is a recording and mix engineer. I've worked with a long list of, a lot of my favorite MCs and everybody's favorite MCs.
Yeah.
So that's my day job, for lack of a better term. And then some people know me as the guy on the internet that does funny, insightful videos about how to navigate the independent music business. Because I've been doing this for 15 years and surviving off of it and making a living at it. But along the way, I bumped my head a bunch. And in the process, that's how I learned how the music business really operates. So I make a lot of videos using humor to draw people in, but then try to teach them the how and the why of how things really work so that they can navigate and have an easier path through the independent music business, basically trying to help people before they stumble. So for whatever reason, you know me or you're tuning in, I appreciate it either way. It keeps me employed. So I appreciate it either way. But I've always had to wear a bunch of different hats and had to kind of do everything on my own. Actually, that's part of what made doing engineer to engineer very easy, was that my label has put out across 15 years, almost 70 releases between albums, EPs, mixtapes, singles, collab projects and what have you. But in every one of those projects, I had to record the vocals, produce the beats, mix, master, get with the graphic designer, do artwork, roll out the promo, call the DJs, do the whole 9 yards. And I've had to basically micromanage every step of the way. In this case, I just had to show up and rap, being that, as the title goes, engineer to engineer, I met EaZ through the engineering business, and through the recording studio business, and being familiar with his work and whatnot. There's not a lot of people that I would trust handing records off to. If I wasn't an engineer myself, he's one of the people that I would hire to mix my music. So saying that to say, knowing that it was in good hands after I did the verses, I was able to just lay back and be a rapping degenerate. So that's why I came together very easy. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I just been surviving and doing my thing and trying to teach some people along the way.
Yeah. And big props to Jake, the one who puts those videos out, teaching the horrors of the music business. Because I'm a year into what I would call a full-time grind, and I would have stumbled and hit my head a whole lot more if it wasn't for those videos. So props to Jake on those videos, man. And
we definitely go ahead.
No, I was just saying also he's being a little bit too humble right now, only because to keep it full disclosure, man, we discussed the EP, we put it all together, but I'm gonna give Jake a lot of credit for laying the first vocals down on the tracks and giving me that kick that I needed by sending me the joint and letting me know that he's working on it and he's this is priority for him and in turn, not that it wouldn't have been priority for me, but hearing his vocals on there and seeing where he went with the tracks, it definitely gave me a push to not only work on them and make it a priority, but finish them up and put my full effort into this EP. So he though he's only taking credit for the rapping, he did a lot of the pushing along the way to get this to where it is today and what you hear it. So big up to him for that.
No doubt, man.
I definitely want to touch on a little later in the show about the videos you put out. I actually just watched one the other day, and like you said, there's humor to it, but it's very educational. Yeah. You know what I mean? Very, very. I was just watching one the other day. Actually, it was the one that's because you made a post about that on record label.
The scammer trying to sign me to
like said, a lot of people was congratulating you, realizing it was real. You know what I mean? So for you to go back and make that post and make that video about it, you know what I mean? I definitely respect that. Let's go to comments real quick. Anthony said he lives in Johnson City.
What's up? I lived in Johnson City for 6 years. Yeah,
yeah. Miss Santiago said, I love the story. Music video. Where can I find your videos? Talking about you, Jake.
You can go to youtube.com/Spacelab Recordings. There's a lot of music videos and video blogs there. And then you can go to Instagram. I'm Jake Palumbo on Instagram. I do a lot of my instructional videos on the gram, but Instagram and YouTube, you can find all that.
Yeah. All right, what else we got? Okay, all right, let's get to the next question. When it comes to making beats, where does it come from? Is it something repetitive that plays in your head over and over again, or is it something different?
For me personally, it's one of two things. Like I on my Instagram, I do a weekly beat video that kind of shows my behind the scenes process of making a beat. And I'm a heavy crate digger. I'm big into sampling. That's no secret. And I try to dig very deep and not sample music that is instantly going to be recognizable. However, I do layer my samples with live instruments. Like I play live bass usually, and I play keys and so on and so forth. So for me, it's usually one of two things. If the beat is based around the sample, it just comes from dropping the needle on the record and hearing something that moves me. And I'm like, oh, that's it. If it's not a sample-based beat, because I do stuff that's just played, that comes more from just going through the sounds on the keyboard until I hear a sound that moves me, and then I just start playing something, It's one or the other.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, man. And as far as me, so I'm about like maybe a year and a half into this beat making venture, but I'm also sample based too right now, so it's more of the same. I let the sample dictate wherever I go. The sample will usually dictate what key I'm in, where I'm starting off, what I'm starting off with, and then I just take it from there. Honestly, that's kind of how I get my beats to not sound the same. I don't really start with what I'm comfortable with. I try to chop up whatever I can find, and then from there I let that dictate where it goes. And like for this EP, it was funny because the way that we came up with what beats we were using is I brought about 30 or 40 to Jake and I let him pick. I might have had my preference, but I wanted to see what were the ones that were chosen from somebody else's perspective. And that's kind of how we went with this EP. Instead of bringing him the ones that I liked and I wanted, I gave him free reign to pick amongst the ones that I showed him. And then from there, even if it wouldn't have been something I would have necessarily picked for myself, we were able to build the song based off of whatever vision we came up with together once I let him choose the beats.
Technical difficulties right now.
Oh, my bad.
I can't see nobody in here.
I can see
everybody in the comments. Can y'all see? Can y'all hear?
I can see you.
Cause I can't hear nothing.
Yeah, I can see the both of y'all now. Yeah.
Y'all good? Everybody
Yeah.
good?
Yep.
I was having major difficulties just for a minute. You good, Jake? You good, EaZ? All right.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good. Yeah.
I don't know what just happened. My bad. I'm not home. I had to leave my house and man, my AC went out. You know what I mean? So I'm not home right now. I don't got my setup with me. Yeah, it's crazy. Almost 100 degrees in my house, man. It's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
I said you can see in here. All right, cool. It's just me over here.
Yeah.
Man, your creative process. What's your creative process like? Do y'all lay your track first? Beat first? How does that work?
Me personally, I'm kind of working on both simultaneously, and then they'll meet in the middle when a song idea comes together. So what I mean by that is, like, you know, I'm constantly making beats. I make 2 to 5 beats per week, probably. And in that moment, you know, it might be a boom bap beat, it might be a trap beat, it might be a melodic soulful beat, it might be a weirdo beat. But whatever I'm feeling that day, I'll just make that beat and then I throw it into a pile. Over time, that pile gets large. So on that same token, like as I'm going throughout the day, I'm constantly jotting down little one-liners that pop in my head. So when the time comes that I actually got to make a song, I'll go through that pile of beats, grab whatever track, you know, fits the concept of what I'm trying to do, go through my 500-page text file and see if I've got anything usable for it, and then I'll start filling in the blanks. So I'm kind of constantly writing down little one-liner raps, and I'm kind of constantly making beats, and they just, you know, they occasionally meet in the middle and become a song. So
yeah, more I'm along the lines of the same. You know, I'll make beats, and then if one of them, you know, hits me where I'm like, okay, this is something I could potentially use, I'll put that one to the side. I don't try to force the song right away. I kind of just keep that in a folder like of beats to write to, and then from there, whenever inspiration hits for me to write, I'll try to come up with whatever songs I can come up with to the beats that I've chosen. But that's kind of the process where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I like it, man. Both of y'all have some amazing collabs, man. Who's been your favorite collab? And y'all don't have to say each other.
What if it's the truth? Yeah. You can kick it off, Jake.
Oh, God, I don't know. You know, I've been able to do songs with most of my bucket list of favorite rappers. Like, rest in peace, Sean Price was my favorite rapper. I've got a song with Sean Price on my Jake It Till You Make It album. On that same album, I've got Rock Marciano, Smith & Wesson, I was able to do entire albums with guys like El Da Sensei and Rusty Jooks. Lex the Hexmaster and I have an album coming up that I'm really excited about. Sadat X has blessed my records before. Cool Keith, it just like, I don't know. I've got a lot. Like, I really am grateful to have been able to work with a lot of people whose music I really appreciate.
Yeah. So artist-wise, collaborating, I haven't collaborated with too many artists right now. So it would actually be Jake for the moment. He might hold that crown for a while, based on how proud I am of how this EP came out. But engineering-wise, I could speak to, man, because I've been engineering a long time, man. I'm not doing it like as a job right now, but from like 2008 to like 2016, I was going in. So I will say, out of the long list of artist credits that I got, the one that I'm most proud of and holding high regard is Raekwon. To be able to record him and have him come back to the studio multiple times and just build a rapport with him, that was a pretty dope experience. No amount of money you can make in this business can take the place of an experience like that. Because just growing up, being a fan and being from the same parts and the same areas and growing up in Staten Island and all that, that was definitely a dope experience. And then to be able to vibe with him too, not just, we worked well and that was that, but vibed, had convo and we kicked it and talked about where we were from. That was pretty dope.
Yeah, hell yeah, man, that's fly. Yo, Staten Island, that's my hometown right there. For real.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Shaolin, man.
Let's talk about engineering wise. Jake, you done made beats for some A-list A-list artists out there. How do you stay humble? Knowing you made it to that level. How do you stay humble still? How does, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, the frank answer is because I've been in the music business long enough to see how quickly this can all crumble if you make the wrong moves, if you start to kind of believe your own BS and you start to think that, you know, it's been my experience, you know, I've seen a lot of people go up and then go down, and, you know, just the realization that, like, no one has to do any of this. No one has to stream my music on Spotify. No one has to buy a beat from me. No one has to hire me to record at the studio or get their music mixed and mastered by me. You know, and so the fact that they do consistently, you know, that's not lost on me, I guess you would say. And I realize, like, how quickly that could dry up and turn to dust if here's the thing, like I always say, like, you know, November will be 15 years that, like, this is what I've done, you know, between engineering, producing, rapping, you know, whatever I do. I can look back in hindsight and say, okay, I've done this for 15 years. I've stayed busy. I've paid my bills. Everything went great. But in the present reality, you don't know what your future holds more than about a month or two in the future. Like, I don't get hired until the phone rings with somebody to hire me and say, hey, Jake, how much for 16 bars on a song? Or, hey, Jake, I got 8 songs. How much to mix them? Like, I don't know. I guess it's one of them things that, like, I've seen firsthand, like, how quickly you can lose whatever you got if you mistreat it. And so my only guarantee of employment tomorrow is the work that I do today. And what I mean by that is this: like, I showed up on time for this interview. Like, I wasn't here at, you know, 8:40, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So the person that comes to the studio today, they got to walk out of here feeling like we had a great session. If they did, they'll be back. If they don't feel that way, they probably won't. So I'm saying all that to say is that, like, you just got to do good business with people, and that will positively influence you having work tomorrow. So that's why I just try to stay humble and keep working.
I like it, man. I like it. Yeah. We got Miss Santiago in the comments. She said, very humble. I love it. And we got Malcolm in the building. What's going down, Malcolm? Big shout out to my guy, man, for real Talk 100 Radio. What you about to say, EaZ?
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, I mean, in my short time and, you know, doing the same, I'm one thing that I try to stick to is I believe in compensation. I mean, I believe that everybody should get compensated for their time. Like, the more you move in this business, a lot of it is quid pro quo with favors. I tend to be the opposite way. I tend to try to make sure that I'm taking care of everybody monetarily, because I feel like that's something that will stick with anybody you leave with when you do business with them. So I try to just make sure that I'm compensating everybody. I mean, it may not be the best rate that you may deserve, but I'm going to make sure that I give you something and make sure that your time was appreciated and your business was appreciated first and foremost. I feel like when you leave an impression like that, it tends to come back to you. You get what you put in, you know, and I feel like that's going to bring me good karma, even if I may not see it now or a year from now. I feel like I try to move with the intention that's always going to come back to me positively, you know?
Facts. David said, awesome vibes here. Keep doing your thing, people.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Might have froze again.
Right there's the bell. You hit that bell, get notifications. Everybody watching on Facebook, I appreciate you guys, man. Hit that share. And if you're listening on YouTube Music, man, I appreciate you guys, man. For real. My podcast goes anywhere you go. In saying that. Let's see. Do either of you have any rituals or like superstitions, you know, before your performances?
Good question.
Anybody?
Well, Jake, you've performed more, so I'll let you go ahead first on this one.
Well, I mean, outside of alcohol and marijuana,
That's big.
You know, for the purpose of loosening up, like I almost, you know, as we're sitting here talking, like, you know, I'm mild-mannered Jake Palumbo who tries to be calm and articulate and personable. But Jake Palumbo, the rapper, you know, is an unhinged maniac. And so, like, I kind of have to, it's like Clark Kent changing into Superman a little bit. Like I've kind of almost got to make a small transformation. So I usually will get a little toasty to loosen up and just momentarily stop giving a fuck so that I can give my best performance. But beyond that, I like to eat maybe about 3 hours before showtime because I can't eat like an hour before the show. I'll be tired. But at the same time, like I can't have an empty stomach because then I won't give my best performance. But beyond that, I will do some like basic stretching and calisthenics and arm circles and shadow boxing. But I just need a good vibe and some, you know, some booze and trees, and we'll be okay.
Word. So I don't know if I've done this long enough to have any kind of ritual per se. But for me, man, it's just I don't know, man. I have this laser focus that kind of taps me into another level, and that's kind of what I've been, you know, prepping myself for. Whether it's like, I don't know, whether it's like self inner talk or something, just more like, you know, like prepping myself and just, you know, bigging myself up. And I try to do that because my wife tells me I need to be more positive and stop being so pessimistic. So I try to do that by giving myself some positive talk, you know, mentally and stuff. And so far it's worked out pretty good, man. It kind of kills any nervousness or any butterflies. I mean, you're always going to have them because anytime you do something you love, there's always going to be that little bit of anxiety, but it kind of kills it from being over the top. Just reminding myself that I'm pretty good at this shit. And, you know, I'm going to give it everything that I got.
Yeah, facts. Big time facts. Man, obviously y'all get paid doing what y'all do, man. But what's your why? Like what drives you? You know what
I mean? Yeah, go ahead, kick it off.
I would say that for starters, like I would still be doing this even if I wasn't making any money off of it. Like, you know, I think back to when I used to unload trucks at Sears and, you know, I'd be sneaking off to the bathroom to go write rhymes. Like, I feel like I'd still be doing that even if this wasn't a career, just because it's my purpose and I need to fulfill it. But saying that to say, having been able to make it a career, it now begins the challenge of how long can you make that work? And so that's like, you know, I'm almost at the 15-year mark, but, you know, I'd like to get, you know, I see some of my OGs in the game, you know, doing this on into their 40s and 50s and beyond, and would like to do the same thing. So it's more so about just trying to create the reality I want to live in. But, you know, but saying that to say, I don't think I started really achieving success at it until I went back to doing it for the right reasons. And that is that, like, I'd be doing this, you know, this is my passion. Like, these beats and these words exist in me and expressing them makes me happy. So, you know, we're only got like but a certain amount of time on this planet. And so you need to fill that time with it, you know, doing things that you love as much as possible. So.
Yeah, agreed, man. I've done this on and off for, you know, the last 15 years, and I can tell you that the off, it always sucked, man. There was always something missing, and I always felt like I wasn't really fulfilled, even if everything else was prosperous. I always felt like I wasn't fulfilled. So, you know, it's the only thing. I do a lot of things well. It's the only thing that I do well that I enjoy doing well. So it's my motivation to keep going, and for now on, never stop. You know, nothing else is getting in the way. Period. This is what I love doing, and Jake hit the nail on the head with doing it for the right reasons. You know, I liked engineering and I like making things sound good, but I'm not gonna say that I love recording others. You know, I like being in the music business and networking and chilling, but I'm not going to say that I love the business portion of it. But what I do love is the creative side. And even if I don't make a dollar, even if I never make another dollar, I got to be creative. I got to keep creating, and I got to leave a catalog a mile long when I'm gone of the shit that I put out and put together.
I was going to say, EaZ hit the, nail on the head that I forgot to, was that, this is about leaving behind the catalog that's going to hopefully outlive us. And, I hate to sound morbid when I say this, but think about like how many dead artists are in my regular playlist. Like, if we're going down the list of just the regular, hip hop classics that we listen to, mainstream or underground, there's even other genres. Like, the music of dead artists continues on long after they're gone. So it is very much about forming a legacy and leaving behind some stuff that's going to outlive us.
Yeah, very few things get remembered throughout history, but art is one of them. Art can transcend history and keep on going and keep your name living for hundreds and hundreds of years later on. So if I'm going to do anything, it's going to be art.
I can see you now, bro, but I can't hear you.
Yeah, word. You'll get there.
Yeah.
We see you, just no audio. I could read your lips though. I think you said damn. All good, brother. Don't stress it. Don't stress it. Just try to fix it. Try to figure it out. Yo, Jake, I finally got my studio set up back up, man.
I was gonna say, I like your rig, man.
Yeah, man. It was fucking stressing me, man. I was going on like month 5 of no setup, and they finished fixing the spot up and doing the repairs like a few days ago, and since then I've been rigorously moving everything down here, trying to get it connected and trying to get back in effect, man. Yeah, bro. It's like, I mean, I was still being productive. I was still doing work. You saw, you know what I'm saying? We finished up and all that, but I needed to get this is my sanctuary. I needed to get this shit back up and running, man.
How we looking, Jay?
Not looking too good. All right, he's probably gonna try to reconnect.
Yeah.
If you're still with us, we appreciate you.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, and we'll try to get back up and popping as soon as we can.
After these messages.
Word. I'm back. My bad.
Look at that. There we are.
Man, I'm having some horrible difficulties over here. I apologize, guys. Man, I apologize.
All good. All good.
Like,
man.
I see y'all laughing and smiling, but I don't hear y'all. You know what I mean?
Word. Yeah. You missed you missed some catch up on my studio setup, man. I was just telling the people that I had gotten, like, my spot had gotten flooded a few months back, man, and I was fiending for this shit to get repaired. There were like some delays and stuff, but finally everything got done, and I was able to get all this gear hooked back up, man.
Yeah, man, I apologize for real. Like, I'm not home right now, so I don't got my setup. Man,
all good, man. We appreciate
after
you.
These messages.
yeah. We appreciate you still having us on in spite of the crazy day you had, man.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir. Man, let's we got a few more questions before we gotta end this interview, man. Give some advice to the younger you, and what would you tell your younger self about your journey?
Oh, I would tell my younger self that you got to get out and network with people more. Because in my early career, I did a lot of work, but I did it from kind of behind the wall. Like, it was sending emails and MySpace messages and mailing out press packages to magazines and stuff without ever contacting them, and in hindsight, realizing that, like, all that stuff just goes into a dumpster. So whereas, like, taking the time to research who the writer was at that magazine and calling and speaking to them might have got me a little bit further. I used to show up to open mics at 8 p.m. thinking that, I'll get my name on the list early and then I won't have to rhyme at 1:30 in the morning. Guess what? They're calling that list in the order of who they're friends with, and I'm going to be rapping at 1:30 in the morning because they don't know me. Like, it would have behooved me to go up and talk to the doorman guy with the list. So saying that to say, like, I could have got a little bit quicker if I'd have taking that approach a little bit faster. And beyond that, just learning that, you know, it is very much about the long game. This is not going to happen overnight. It's going to take many years, and those years are going to be difficult. But when you look back, you'll say, I had a career. So that's probably what I tell my younger self.
Yeah, I would say two things. One, 80% of the battle is not quitting. You know, the world is filled with people who were on the cusp and quit right before they were about to pop off. So the hardest part is not quitting, man. If you don't quit, you're already ahead of most people doing what you're doing. And then the other one is to focus on you. Anytime you're doing anything and you're trying to be, you know, a professional in whatever you're doing, you're going to come across a lot of people that can help you, and your circle will get bigger and bigger and bigger. And you might lose sight of why you started doing this. So my thing would be focus on you and do what's best for you, and make sure that you're going to shine, even if, you know, you may not be the priority at that moment. Always remember that you have to be at the end of the day.
Oh my goodness.
More technical difficulties.
Oh, screen just froze.
We can hear you still.
Yeah, we can still hear you. I can disconnect it again. Well, just to wrap up my point.
Yeah.
Just to wrap up my point. Focus on you, man. Do what's best for you, because at the end of the day, man, anybody could come and go, but you got to take care of yourself. All good, man.
Yeah, I second what he said on that.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I second what he said on that, because along the way, a lot of people are gonna quit. Like half of the battle is just showing up and outlasting everybody.
Yeah. Word. And just make sure you take care of yourself, man. Above all else, make sure you're good at the end of the day. You good, Jay?
You said what? I'm getting horrible fucking reception. Oh my god.
No, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can make out most of it. Yeah.
All right, bet. All right, bet. My bad, guy. We definitely got to do like a part 2 in a few days or something, so we can definitely get this 100% while I'm at the house. Man, what advice would y'all give to up and coming artists, you know, that's trying to do their thing?
That's a good question, man, because sometimes I have to give myself the same advice, and sometimes I don't even know what to tell myself. But I would say, man, do what you like. Don't do what you think other people want to hear, because that's the best way to fail. Do what you like. Be a fan first, and believe it or not, even if you think, hey, I only like it, but nobody else will, you'll be surprised, man. If you do your best at what you like, that tends to gravitate to how other people feel.
I like it.
For me, I would say that, you know, there's kind of two main things to remember, because, you know, the music business is a very complicated onion, and it's like an onion because it has a lot of layers, and the more you peel back, the more you want to cry. But you know, saying that to say that the two main principles are this: you've got to cultivate your own community, your own network, your own little audience, because if you can build that up to a rather modest number of people, you can survive off that audience. Like I started off with 100 or 200 fans on MySpace. And, you know, it took 15 years, but, you know, I'm getting close to being eligible for a plaque from Spotify. So that didn't happen overnight. Like, that took many years of putting out things that did low numbers and, you know, didn't really get noticed, and the blogs didn't write about it, you know, but there was this small little community of people who cared just enough to keep things rolling, enough to keep building the next go and do better the next time and better the next time. So you got to find your community. Like, even if you can put together 5,000 fans, like, you can survive off that.
Word.
You know, and if you really want to be ambitious, if you can put together 10 or 20,000 that really are tuned in, you could actually, you know, do some things and pay some bills. So when you think about it in terms of that way, that's a much more attainable and realistic goal.
Yeah.
The other thing that I would say is that you've got to do this for the right reasons, because, you know, as seriously as I do take the business side of all this, like, if this was about the money, I would have quit over a decade ago. Like, I spent a lot of years, you know, being very broke doing this. So, you know, but I was in it for a different purpose. I was in it because I needed to fulfill my purpose. So, you got to be regardless of where the business side of it goes in your career, like you got to be doing this for the right, genuine reasons. Because if you're getting into this for the purpose of making money or, social currency, being famous, clout, you're probably going to find yourself frustrated and disappointed, even if you do achieve what you're looking for. So I would say this to say that, like, if I didn't love making the music and I wasn't having more fun now making the music than I did as a young man, like I would have went and got a job with benefits and, where I got vacation.
I appreciate you guys coming on here. This reception is ridiculous. We definitely gonna get together next few days, whatever, and continue this to do a part 2 or whatnot, because there's a lot more I definitely wanted to touch on.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's maybe let's put him out of his misery a little bit, because he look like he about to punch a wall. Let's end it with, go check out Engineer to Engineer on Spotify, Apple Music, all platforms, Amazon, Tidal, everywhere. It's available everywhere. Go check that out. We'd appreciate it. If y'all like what y'all hear, throw us a follow on Spotify and keep looking out